Shalom Israel first. I want to give all praise and glory honor to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Kakadash. I want to see Apostle Elsberry Millstone, peace, salutation, more to Israel. For this lesson, I want to title it Vanity. Alright, and really just going into how, this world is just consumed in vanity, and that's why, when you're in this truth, you don't have, you don't fit in, because you understand that this shit is all vanity. People be, into all different types of shit, like, social media, working out, which, there's none, scripture says use this word and not abuse it. So, you can use these things, but at the end of the day, we know what it is. All right. But these people, they make it their sole purpose to make it in these things. All right. To be honest, let me get this scripture first. Wisdom of Solomon 3 and I'll get in just a regular version, KJV. All right, Wisdom of Solomon 3 and I'll start at 11. Hold up. It says, for whoso despises wisdom and nurture, he is miserable, and their hope is vain. Their labor is unfruitful, and their works unprofitable. Their wives are foolish, and their children wicked. Their offspring is cursed. All right, so ultimately, if you despise this truth, what you laboring for is vain, because it's all gonna fade away. What is it saying in 2 Peter? I believe it's the 3rd chapter, if I'm not mistaken. It says, it talks about how this world is basically go out by. Let me just get it. Alright, butchering the scripture and stuff. Alright, 2 Peter 3. Satan, bro. Fucking no service in this bitch. Alright, 2 Peter 3 and 10. That's Satan. Just Alright, but basically it talks about how the day shall not come. No, it's like that's 2 Thessalonians. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. There you go, roughly paraphrasing. Water, y'all, that's real shot. But this shit is all gonna fade away. So what really the point is, what should we be laboring for? Should we be putting more time in this bullshit, or should we be putting time in the truth? The greatest treasure, that this world has to, not this world, but that the greatest treasure from on high, that's contained, in this world, and I say contained in this world, because of this right here. Damn. This is what I mean, Salaki. 2 Corinthians 4 and 6, it says, for the Most High, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, has shined in our hearts, our minds, to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of the Most High in the face of Yahushua Mashiach. And what did the Apostle Paul say? I count all things as dung, that I may win Yahushua, I may gain Yahushua. All things is dung. Basically, it's vain. There's no worth to it. That's really the point I'm getting. All this shit here is all vanity and vexation of spirit. All right, because what does Micah 2 and 10 say? Rise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, for it is polluted. It shall destroy you. Yea, even surely with sort of structure, or paraphrase. You can't enjoy any of this shit. It's all vain. And that's a part of, that's a part of eating this roll, is waking up to the illusion, the waking out of the darkness of this world. This nigga can't drive. Like, shit, bro. This nigga on his phone in the left lane. Shit, I'm on my phone, but it's not Vanity. Fuck. But anyways. Alright, cutting up and shit. Fast and Furious. Of course. But anyways. But let me keep reading. It says, but we have, the 7th verse, but we have this treasure in earthen vessels, you know. That basically, you know, that was the point I was trying to say, you know. Shalaki, if it came off wrong. It says that the excellency of the power may be of the Most High and not of us. It says, we are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. All right. So, you know, ultimately, you know, through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom of the Most High. You know, so we're going to catch hell for this truth. All right. That's, you know, that's what it is. Rock, the 2nd chapter. All right. But, let me go to, this right here. So I had a point. I wanted to bring it up. Ecclesiastes 1:17. It says, I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is a vexation vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increases knowledge increases sorrow. All right, that's the reason why you're not happy here. It's because you know too much. You know, because Scripture says, folly is joy to him that is destitute of wisdom. You know, because you got these people in the world, they into all types of bullshit. You know, because they don't know nothing. You know, they into what's that fucking TV show, Love Island? Like that? Like, are you fucking serious? That's what people are watching. That's the talk of the town. You know, you got all this prophecy. You got, you know, you got this truth that is being broadcasted, you know, throughout the 4 winds of the earth. You know, the most important thing, you know, basically how to save your life. You know, if you're an Israelite, you know, the words of life, for lack of better words. But yet you got these motherfuckers out here watching bullshit, you know, social media, like, and that's the thing, you know. This is why the Lord, he needs, well, he's going to, but one of my favorite scriptures, Isaiah 26:9. For when thy judgments are in the earth, then shall the people then shall the inhabitants of the world learn righteousness. All right. So when, you know, all this bullshit stops, that's when, you know, that's gonna be the reality check, when the Lord's judgments start hitting these niggas. All right. Because the people, the mindset of this world is just in complete darkness. That's why you can't you stick out like a sore thumb. You a light. You know, we got this truth. All right. But, you know, with the light, it comes heaviness, you know, heaviness of the mind. You know, you just don't enjoy you don't enjoy this shit, all right? Which, you know, it's a beautiful thing, but it's also a bitter thing, all right? Because, you know, I wanted to bring that point home because, like, you know, bros be like, or not just bros, but, like, just people in the world, they'd be like, people in general, they'd be like, try to find a hobby and whatnot, but it's like, this shit is all vanity, alright? Now, it's not to be a Debbie Downer, like, if you got a hobby, you know, obviously, do you. I ain't telling you, I'm not trying to bring you down and shit, or, you know, I don't fit in, this, that, and third, so you shouldn't be fitting, like, nah, it's not to fucking, not to say any of that, but it's just to show you, it's just, you know, to tell you what it is, like, you don't fit in, you know, the truth that we possess, it spotlights the bullshit of this world, spotlights this world for how it is, how truly vain this place is, all right? And what we ache for is the kingdom, you know. That's what we long for, you know. But let me jump up to the 14th verse. Actually, I don't know why I skipped that. This is or actually, I do know. I had to bring one of that point first. But Ecclesiastes 1:14, it says, I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. All right. And King Solomon said this, and mind you, he had everything. He had the woman, He had the riches. He had the wealth. He was a king. He had power. He had it all. But he said it was all vanity and vexation of spirit. And why is that? Because at some point you're gonna pass. Alright, at some point you're gonna give up the spirit. And let's get this right here. I think it's in the second chapter. Second, we can start up. This is I'll just get straight to the point. I'm driving. I don't want to be reading chapters and stuff while I'm driving. But it says Ecclesiastes 2:11. It says, "Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought." And you read up, it talks about the stuff he basically he made. It says great works, vineyards. He had servants, handmaids, great possessions, so on and so forth. Right? It says, "Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun." All right, and that's literally what it is. All right, so what should we be laboring for? Should we be laboring for the kingdom to come? The life to the true life to come. All right, this life right now is not even life. We're just existing. We're here to do a mission. We pilgrims. We don't got shit, but we laboring to be gods. All right, in the kingdom. We laboring to be eternal, immortals. All right, in the kingdom. And let me hold that point. It says let me skip down right here, 17th verse. "Therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me, for all vanity and vexation of spirit. Yea, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the men that shall be after me." Basically meaning you didn't labor, you did all this just to die, and you don't nothing. It's temporary. All this shit is temporary. All right. It says, "Who knoweth?" Oh shit. It says, "Who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have rule over all my labor, wherein I have labored, and wherein I have shown myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity." And let's look at that word vanity. Vanity, that which is vain. No, thanks. Futile, worthless. All right, so all this shit is worthless. All right. It's in 2 Peter. Well, I'll just quote it, but it talks about how we seek new heavens and new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. All right. And mind you, in the kingdom, we're going to be, like I said, we're going to be eternals. All right. That's part of the new covenant. We ain't never going to sin. All right. We ain't never going to suffer. All right. Let's see, Hebrews 13 and 14, it says, "For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come." All right, and that's what we're doing. We laboring right now. This is the best labor you can do, is the work of the Lord. The Lord, it comes with the biggest payout. All right. But let me I feel like there's one more scripture. Actually, I'll just end it off in this one. Spirit wanted it to come out. Just trying to, bring it home the point of, if understanding that all is vanity and vexation of spirit, all this shit is going to pass away. All this shit is bullshit. What should we have our focus on? All right, 2 Corinthians 9 and 6 says, "But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully." All right, so you give what you get what you put in. All right, so we want to put in as much as we can. All right, we want to double down. All right, as the other apostle Paul says. All right, so hopefully with this, it's edifying, well said. Just rolling through the spirit.